To say complicated human being is to be redundant. And the pity are those who have so sanded the edges off their existences that they're protected from that complication. And I think Willa Cather gets that, and she is a priori is that. She has to be that. We are all that.
There are only 2 or 3 human stories, and they go on repeating themselves as fiercely as if they never happened before. Like the larks in this country that have been singing the same 5 notes over for thousands of years.
As a kid, I remember walking through Statuary Hall and just looking up at these bronze statues and getting that feeling of being amongst gods. I just remember that being such a alive moment.
I think that most of the basic material a writer works with is acquired before the age of 15. That's the important period, when one's not writing. Those years determine whether one's work will be poor and thin, or rich and fine.
You can sort of reject the place that you come from and say, there's nothing here, this is just a little dusty town that nobody cares about. She was able to sort of look at that town and say, I'm gonna turn this into great literature, and no one's gonna stop me.
She was figuring out who she wanted to be professionally as well as other ways.
She meets Edith Lewis in 1903. In the fall of 1908, that's when she and Edith Lewis take their first apartment together. That's where their domestic partnership really begins.
I do believe you've got me fairly launched at last. At least it looks so. About a week after I sent my stories to S.S. McClure, he telegraphed me to go to New York at once.
She's in New York, she's in the thick of it all, where publishers and agents are living, and she thinks, this is where I'm going to make it.
Cather talks about just how tired she is, that the magazine work that she does is really draining.
She's close to 40, and she's making these decisions to finally take flight.
Sarah Orne Jewett told her in a letter to stop imitating other writers, find your own quiet center, and go from there.
One of ours, 1922, A Lost Lady, 1923, The Professor's House, 1925, My Mortal Enemy, 1926, Death Comes for the Archbishop, 1927. Every one was a big success, artistically and commercially.
She reminds you that there are other people on this earth. They come from different places. They speak different languages. They're all trying to meld into this landscape.
When we have the courage to give every story its own form, instead of trying to crowd it into one of the old molds on the shelf, one of the stock patterns, and when we have the courage to make it no bigger than it is, we shall be on the right road, certainly.